All right, guys, so we're on notes 8.5. We're going to be solving systems of equation by elimination. So we've solved systems with graphing. We've solved systems with substitutions. This is just another way to solve systems. So what elimination is we're essentially going to be adding and subtracting equations together to eliminate variables. So let's look at number one. It says solve each system by elimination. We have 5x minus y equals 12 and 3x plus y equals 4. So what we want to do is we essentially want to add our equations together. Now, the reason we're going to add them together is because when we add them together right here, we have a variable negative y and we have a plus y. And when we add those together, they're going to eliminate themselves. That's why it's elimination. It's going to leave us with just x's so that we can solve. So let's go ahead and add these together. Now we work top to bottom. So we're going to have 5x plus 3x is 8x. Negative y plus y is 0, so I'm going to leave that blank. 12 plus 4 is 16. So now we're left with an equation with one variable that we can solve for. So to solve for x here, I divide both sides by what's attached to 8. Those cancel, leave me x. 16 divided by 8 gives me 2. So now I know that x equals 2. Well, now I can go back to either equation, plug my 2 in for x, and solve. It really doesn't matter which one. I'm going to go ahead and throw it into the top one. So I'm going to have 5 times 2 minus y equals 12. Now all I have to do is solve this for y. I'm going to have my answer. So I have 10 minus y equals 12. I need to subtract 10 from both sides because I'm trying to solve for y. So I have negative y equals 2. But I can't have negative y. I need positive y. So I divide both sides by negative 1. And I get y equals negative 2. So our solution are those two values, the point, 2, negative 2. So add your equations together. If that way something will cancel out. You get one variable, you plug it in to get the other. Let's look at number 2 real quick. Now, if you look at number 2, we have two c's that are the same, 6c and 6c, but if we add them together now, it's not really going to work. So what we need to do is have one be positive and one be negative. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bottom equation, and I'm going to multiply it by negative 1 the entire way through. So let's rewrite these equations and set up our problem. So now I have 6c plus 7d equals negative 15. In the second equation, I'm going to multiply it through that negative 1. So instead of positive 6c, I have negative 6c. And that's what we want because they'll cancel out. I have instead of negative 2d, I have plus 2d. Instead of positive 12, I have negative 12. Now, when we add them together, our c's are going to cancel and leave us with d. So 6c minus 6c gives us 0c. 7d plus 2d gives me 9d. And negative 15 plus negative 12 gives me negative 27. So now I have one variable and I can solve for it. I divide both sides by 9, and I get that d equals negative 3. Now I can go back and plug that into either equation and solve. I'm going to plug it into the top one. So I'm going to say I have 6c. Well, let me move that down a little bit so it doesn't confuse anybody. So now I have 6c plus 7 times negative 3 equals negative 15. And now I just have to solve for c. That's 6c minus 21 equals negative 15. I have to add the 21 to both sides. I get 6c equals 6. I divide both sides by 6, and I get that c equals 1. So now we have our coordinates, and we want to go in alphabetical order. So I'm going to point c is 1, d negative 3. So there's my solution. Now, on both of these, you can check your solutions, plug them in for c and d in either equation. If they work, then they're correct. If they don't work, then they're not. All right, so let's go ahead and move to the next one. Now, if we look at this one again, the same sort of thing happens. I have my 12 in both of them, but they're both positive. I need to make one of them negative. So I'm going to take my bottom equation. I'm going to multiply the whole thing by a negative 1. So let's rewrite these over to the side. I have 8m plus 12n equals 20. That one didn't change. But the next one, instead of positive 5m, I have negative 5m. Instead of positive 12n, I have negative 12n. And instead of negative 1, I have positive 1. Now we have something that we can eliminate, so let's go ahead and add them together. 8m minus 5m gives me 3m. 12 minus 12, 12n minus 12n is 0. 20 plus 1 is 20. I divide both sides by 3, and I get m equals 7. So there's one of our variables. Now let's go back and let's plug m equals 7 into either equation. Now let's plug it into the top one. So I have 8 times 7 plus 12n equals 20. Now I just solved that for n and I've got my equation, or I've got my answer. 8 times 7 is 56 plus 12n equals 20. I'm going to subtract my 56 from both sides. Those cancel, leaves me 12n equals 20 minus 56 is negative 36. I then divide both sides by 12 to get n by itself, and I got n equals negative 3. So you have a little space below that, I didn't leave it in there, that says solution. And since it's not x and y, remember you go in alphabetical order, so I'm going to have the point 7, negative 3. Okay, let's go ahead and look at number 4 real quick, the last one. Let's see if we got it set up. We do have 2 3y's, one's positive, one negative, so we do not have to worry about multiplying anything through. We can just go ahead and add them together. 4x plus 2x is 6x. Negative 3y plus 3y is 0. Negative 2 plus 26 is 24. I divide both sides by 6, and I get x equals 4. Now I'm going to plug that into either equation. I'm going to do the bottom one, might as well. That's 2 times 4 plus 3y equals 26. I've got 8 plus 3y equals 26. I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides, and I get 3y. Sorry. 3y equals 18. I divide both sides by 3 to solve for y, and I get y equals 6. So I have a solution of 4, 6. All right, guys, I hope that helps out a little bit. If you're having any questions, of course, come and ask in class if you need to. Good luck.